My name is Simon. I'm a scallywag, a scoundrel, and it's winter. I'm kind of cold. So this episode we're doing insulation now. This is going to be probably an episode that I record over the course of a couple of months because, you know, this is going to take a minute. But unfortunately, all my hatches on my boat, companionway, aft cab, and this largest one here, which I can pop off pretty easily and then slide larger things in. Unfortunately, I can't fit a 4x8 sheet of anything down there, including my insulation. Now, basically, EPS and XPS were my two options I was looking at for insulation on this boat. I went for the EPS, but I got the Silverboard XS graphite because this is the same stuff that we use to insulate foundations in very damp environments and very cold environments here in Canada. So it was a good deal on these as well, which is awesome. You don't usually find this stuff at a good price, so I got a pretty good price on this. And I bought a few boards and I'm gonna try it out. We're gonna glue it up in the V-berth because I hopefully will move into the V-berth soon. So that's the first place I want to insulate. Plus, all the decking and beams are done up forward, so I can get started. But first things first, I actually have to start cutting this down to size right now because I can't get it in the boat otherwise, and there's probably another windstorm coming, and I can't leave it on deck. It'll get shredded. So let's go cut it up.
Well, I only bought the Silverboard because it was so affordable, and it was only affordable because they were about to discontinue it. So these 4 sheets are all I ended up getting because I couldn't get any more of it after this, which meant that I ordered something else, which was 1 1/8 inch of Halo's Intera, a slightly different product with better insulation value, but similar enough. Of course, before I get to installing any of it, I have to make the spacers that will support it. So we'll get into the shop and get working. Before installing any of these spacers, we spent a ton of time actually epoxy coating them completely. So everything that I'm installing here is already epoxy coated. It should help with any moisture that does make its way in there, but that is the main concern. So insulating away from the cold surface and creating a vapor barrier before the air can get to that cold surface means that hopefully we will not get any condensation. And because I don't trust my work, I'm going to make all of this easily removable so that I can check it.
Insulating boats is a bit of a controversial topic, and I'll get into why, but you think you can guess right here, and that's because a lot of boats are made out of wood. And if you put something up tight against the wood in a damp environment, you're probably going to get some rot. So the goal is to cut down humidity, to not lose a bunch of heat energy, and to keep the boat from rotting. So on that last point, everything I'm installing here has been coated in epoxy. So because everything's covered in epoxy, we need to talk about vapor barriers, because the big goal is to keep condensation from getting to the wood and rotting stuff out behind everything on the deck of the boat. On the hulls, it's not such a problem because, of course, you have fiberglass, and I'm not too worried about it, but I still don't want mold growing back there behind the insulation. So let's get into the idea of vapor barriers. You see, vapor barriers are a barrier for vapor, and that means that you want to put the barrier on whichever side is the warm side. So if you were in Florida and air conditioning your house, you would want the vapor barrier on the outside of the house, and that would just keep the insulation dry from all the humidity that the warm side can carry and the cold side can't.
In my case, I'm mostly concerned with warm air coming from inside the boat, making contact with the cold wooden deck, and that would cause condensation to form there. So in order to keep that from happening, I've got my insulation fitted in here at a very tight level so that there's very little microscopic spaces for the air to get through. And then, of course, I'm getting another layer that'll actually act as the vapor barrier on top of that. So the insulation is in. We've got 1.25 inches of insulation, closed cell right here. And then on top of that, we have 1.25 inches of deck, which is all marine plywood, all of it coated in epoxy. Now, if I were to leave everything just like this, eventually a little bits of air make their way in the cracks between the seams here, and will eventually make its way against the hull, condense, moisture was going to build up in there, and I would get mold eventually. Even if everything is coated in epoxy and all of this foam board is inert and all of that, it would still mold out. So the idea is these stringers right here are going to have bits of Velcro that are going to be stapled to them, and that's going to hold a sealing board. Now, I'll go over the design of that in an upcoming episode because I'm running out of time. This is taking a lot of time to insulate all of this. But the idea then is to keep any air from getting past this and getting into the moisture. Now, of course, because it's Velcroed up, I can still peel it off, access my wiring, but also inspect everything and ensure that that's actually working. And if it's not, I'll tweak the design because this is a new territory for me. But I have ambitions of doing a lot of northern sailing, so I'd like some insulation on the boat. And I also have ambitions of maybe even having mild air conditioning on board, which would be really nice when I get to some of the tropical climates. And again, insulation is key for that. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's insulating a boat. Hit me up in the comment section. Tell me I'm wrong. I think I'm more right than the last boat, but I think I still have some tweaks to this system. It is absolutely freezing. I'm on this huge rush to insulate this boat because I want to be comfortable. I want to not have condensation inside my boat, inside my living space. Is one of the disadvantages of living on a boat in Canada is you're just gonna have to deal with some damn cold. One of the advantages, of course, is that we get some Northern Lights shows. Check this out. The Northern Lights came right to the boat, didn't have to go anywhere, could see the whole show right from the deck of my boat. Amazing.
Okay, in the aft cabin, I've done a lot of the insulation overhead, but what I really need to worry about is the insulating of this hull. Now, fiberglass is terrible at insulation. It is extremely cold and condensation builds on this like crazy. This is my bed here. I've got the cheap Amazon micro fleece sheet, which is really great, but holds on to coffee stains like you wouldn't believe. So watch your coffee in bed. But back here, I have nowhere to lean up against right now because it's just solid glass. If I put a cushion up against this, very quickly I get condensation on the back of the cushion, and that's where I put my head, and I don't want mold where I put my head. So we're going to try and tackle this. Right now it is like January. I really don't want to have to take these windows out. So I'm going to just take out the screws here and then see if the frame pops inwards. Maybe it does. Maybe I get lucky, and maybe it doesn't. I guess we'll find out soon. And if it doesn't, then I'll have to find another solution, because I definitely have to take the windows out to put the backing and the insulation and the new covering boards on. But it's pretty cold out there. Hopefully I don't have to take the windows out. Check it out. There was so much water getting in back here that some of my screws these are bronze screws, and some of them have actually turned pink inside from the corrosion and that's just fresh water, well, I guess some salt from time to time, hitting the deck and then getting all the way down there through all of the rotten wood here and into the transom. A lot of the wood I'm pulling out here is quite rotten. So yeah, glad I'm taking it out. Oh, look at that. Nice. Oh, this is fantastic news. So this means that this glass pane back here is a single piece, and I can just pull this out from the inside, rebed it, and then put a new piece back in that doesn't have these little cracks or the fogging around the side. Fantastic news. Oh, I love good news the first thing in the morning, and a good hot coffee. One window down, 2 more to go. Let's get at it. Oh yeah.
Well, with the inside frames removed, I saw just how easy it was going to be to replace the glass here and now, and since the outside frames was also going to get in the way of me building the new wooden backing for the insulation, I figured now's the time, let's get it out. Wasn't really insulating much anyways, so let's just yank them. And now I've got 3 gaping holes in my boat in January. Not ideal, but you know what? The vinyl plastic did just as good a job of keeping the wind and rain and cold out of my bedroom as those wimpy little windows were doing. Not like they were insulating a ton anyways. And this gives me the opportunity to start laying in the new spacing blocks and put some insulation on this transom. So believe it or not, it's actually a little bit warmer back here. Wow, last week's video did amazing. I want to thank all of you who have joined the Patreon and subscribed and been liking the video and hitting that new hype button. All of it's been helping a ton. We've got a ton of new subscribers. I want to wish you all a big fat welcome. Thank you so much for watching. We upload videos every single Friday morning as I fix my $1 boat to sail around the world.
All right, well now I'm just making my bed like I have all week, dealing with all of this foam and sawdust and dust and grossness. But Friday is coming up and I need to get an episode to you guys. So I wanted to just share with you a little bit of my journey on this insulation and keeping warm in the wintertime. It's about 0 degrees out there right now, and I'm finding that the boat is keeping a decent temperature. I don't actually have a heater in this room right now for the first time in a long time. and it's been like 12 hours, and yeah, it's like warm back here right now. I mean, you can't see my breath. It's not warm, but it's plenty warm enough. I'm really stoked on that, and the insulation's only half in, so I'm really looking forward to the change there. It's super easy on the hull because it's all fiberglass, and I don't really have to worry about mold or condensation back there quite as much as I do on the wood, but all of that's also coated in epoxy, so none of it's really gonna rot, I don't think. It's more just like watching for the black mold forming in places, so I'm glad that I'll be able to pull all of this up and access it and check it. But yeah, another news, I got the micro fleece on the bed sheet, which makes a huge difference for making your bed feel warm all the time. And then at night, I have an electric blanket underneath the sheet on the lower 2/3, and that does an incredible job of putting the heat energy from your battery bank straight into your body. That is like, I think it burns like, a maximum I can have it set to 100 watts, but usually I have it at 60, and that's more than enough to keep me warm all night long. So if you're really trying to stay warm and you have like no diesel heater, no other form of heat, and you really just want to like sip away at a battery, 60 watts is like what, 5 amps out of your battery pack. So a regular 100 amp hour battery pack could easily run that all night. So that might be the way that you'd stay warm in an emergency situation where you don't have enough electricity to do much else. I highly suggest it. And otherwise, yeah, I'm liking this. Sound off in the comments on what I'm not thinking of, but I'm pretty stoked on having an insulated boat. It's gonna be nice. See you guys next week.